What up, brothers? It's a Clipper King returning for a brand new review to my channel. We're going to do a Marty McFly. We're going back in time to 2007 when this bitch were released. I'm going to tell you my likes and dislikes about the figure. I'm going to tell you what it does and what it doesn't do. And yeah, I'm just going to do a tour de force like I normally try to do. I'm going to get you 4 or 5 poses, talk about the packaging, we'll score up and we'll see where that takes us. So we'll crack straight on, show you the pose. You can see got him with the futuristic minigun. I will say as well, I don't know the name or model number of these rifles, but I'll try and show them you best I can. And I will say at this point as well, the long slide pistol that this figure normally comes with, this one doesn't have it. I bought it off Dean Knight and he wanted to keep the pistol for his Hitman custom. I said that were okay, not a problem. I will try and pick one up at a later date if anybody's got one available, or one from the Tech Noir version of the Terminator. That'd do. If you want to sell it to Clipper or even give it to Uncle Clipper, you'll know I'd respect that no end and you would get a mention. So just like I said, it's not included on this, but when I cover the extras the figure brung, I will cover that pistol as well, as if it did have it. As you see, I've got the box with retro style E. Who remembers when Hot Toys boxes were all like that? They're like holographic finish with the slip cover and the open window tray inside. I certainly do. I had the Rocky figures, I had the Rambo figures, and this one takes me right back. So yeah, like I said, it's only like, what, 6 years ago. It feels like a fucking 1/6 lifetime ago. But anyway, let's crack on. Let's get some scores on the doors. And we'll start off with source material. I stuck with source material when people told me that it had no... it didn't relate to the figure enough, it shouldn't be rated, it could give a good figure a bad score. And I've always defended source material, saying that because it's sort of the coolness or the wantability on these figures really comes down to how much you like the film anyway. I thought it was a good idea to still include it. So as the box says, it's from the Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Pretty much a classic, I think we've all got to admit that. And it doesn't change. I was thinking actually about doing this review this afternoon, and I thought, is it still considered a classic? And I think, yeah, it's got to be, because there's milestone moments in special effects movies. And I think back, you go back to the 70s and Jaws sort of did it, and the Star Wars films. Then we jumped forward sort of in 91 with this, Terminator 2. I know there were other films along the way, but I'm just thinking of the ones that stick out. So 91 you got this, about 94 we got Jurassic Park, which leapt us forward. Then we got likes of Titanic about 97. Then we've got Lord of the Rings around 2000, 2001, and then Avatar, which is probably the last massive leap forward. So yeah, it is still considered a classic. It is still an awesome story. It's I think it's a really, really good series of films. I'm not a massive fan of the third one, but I do like Salvation, and I think that this figure, or the fear factor of this figure, sort of runs through the whole film. We know that deep down inside a Terminator, this is the bad motherfucker that drives him. So yeah, I've got to give the source material a 5 out of 5. I questioned myself when I get it, and I thought, is it still classic? But I thought, yeah, because I would think everybody in this community's seen it. If they aren't, they should. So that's the only way I could go. Like I say, I've given it a 5 out of 5. Moving on to packaging. And like I said, this really is a blast from the past. There is a retro nostalgia feeling to us old-time collectors. Like I said, I was collecting from pretty early on. I know a lot of people had earlier figures than me, the early Predators and the Alien figures and so on and so forth. I got in at the Rocky IV figure. I have been back and got older stuff than that. But like I said, I do remember these holographic slipcovers, and it was pretty much the norm. Now, not seeing one in a while, it reminds me how much I originally liked them. But also, it reminds me how I toughened up on these packages and took the scores right down for just a slipcover. But I just want to say, I do like the artwork in general on this. I do like the picture although it is a film still and not the figure, and that is one of the things that sort of don't piss me off, but it sort of confused me a little bit, because, well, I'll cover it in the likeness actually, why the box goes against the figure. Another thing with this front cover, because there are the lightings on this eye, from a distance it makes it look cockeyed as fuck. So it's a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit weird. But like I said, I do like the general look of the box, the wording and everything, and how it's just the head. On the side, you get a nice picture imposed with his sort of his plasma rifle. On the other side, we get a closer shot, show his eyes illuminated. And then on the back, let me stand it up actually, because it's worth showing this. Some of you new collectors, you probably don't remember these, but nearly every Hot Toys box will like this at one bit. And like I say, it is a nostalgia feel for me in particular. And you got all the pictures, and you always used to get sort of what the figure brings with it pictures, and that's what you get here, look. Just a few edge shots, shows you the fact that the stomach section moves, and then we get sort of the, shows you where the light for his eyes is and all that, and then his picture, his weapons. Like I said, that's the plasma rifle, then the minigun, the long slide pistol with a laser sighting, and then how the legs and pistons work. So it's pretty much an advertising tool to show you what's inside the box. And like I say, it is a flashback to me, this. Then going inside, I really like the artwork on this. This is now a figure shot, I think. This looks really nice, very poster-esque. And the wording on that side, wording on that side, and then again, shows you everything that's included with the figure. And then it was just a case that sort of a little Velcro tab, and you opened it up. Another picture inside, and then the clam inside that. So yeah, we've not seen this design for a few years. Maybe it's welcome back, I don't know. Maybe we've moved on. Now, I'm gonna give the box a 2 out of 5, which is strange because I really like the look of it. I maybe should take it up to a 3, I'm not sure. But I've marked it down 1 because the box kind of contradicts the figure, and I'll cover that in the likeness. But like I said, because it is just a slip cover, and because I personally have seen it looking loads and loads of times, I have given it a 2 out of 5, which is a little bit of a tight mark because I could have gone to a 3, I think. Rolling on to the likeness, and here's where this review gets a little strange compared to standard review. Obviously the next category would be the outfit. He doesn't wear one, so I'm going to have to try and cover his all over likeness where I would normally do a facial likeness. Now obviously you see him as one piece, so I'm going to try and cover that in the likeness altogether, so to speak. Before I do that, I'll just show you, I've changed up the pose. Got him now holding his plasma rifle, quite low slung, then got his legs as if he's walking forward. So yeah, we'll get him rotating I think for a little minute. So yeah, all in all, I will start off by saying he's instantly recognisable, as you would expect. Now going back 6 years, Hot Toys technology weren't what it is now. So where they can easily make a robot style figure like that, back in these days they couldn't do things like that. But this is still sort of a step above for its time, because all the moving parts, to be able to keep it all moving and replicate the movie, keep it looking in dimension and make it move like the real live robot would, it was just a fucking work of genius. There's a reason that this figure went from about £60 up to about, I don't know, I've seen it go for about 180 this week, and I've seen it in past go for nearly 300 quid. So there's a reason it does that. People respect that it's time Hot Toys really push boundaries with this. So like I said, they have captured the look all in all. Now let's try and cover it quickly from head to toe. So when it comes round, I think we'll put a stop in the rotation and we'll have a good look at his head to start with. Right, so we'll close the mouth. So you get all the detail on the head. It's the silver with a sort of the black the black look in the indentations. They use these real style hoses down through his neck onto his shoulders where the hydraulics would move. It looks like it were made, and if it were powered correctly it would work. Obviously that's not the case, but the pistons all work. I will show you in the articulation section how he moves and what he does and everything, but I'm just covering the look at the moment. Like I said, where the hinge is, it does look like an hinge. The rotation and everything going down, even his hands. You have a look on the movie, the hands, the little section, the metacarpal sort of thing, sections of his hands, they do look like they do in the movie. The arm, it's like the endo arm that you got with the MMS version of the Terminator, although that one was bloodied up. So it is consistent. Say the pistons through the arms, down through the groin into the upper leg, down into what his femur would be, and then down through his legs, rotation. Even the feet, they look like in the film. So yeah, the overall look is awesome. So it would surprise you to tell you that I have given it a 4 out of 5. Like I said, it looks perfect, and this is where the contradiction comes from the box. The photo on the front of the box, it's clearly chrome. Now this isn't chrome. It's not even sprayed chrome. It's like a silver. I don't know, a good shiny silver, but not a reflective chrome like I feel that the its real life counterpart is. So that's where I think the box contradicts it, because the box is showing you one thing and it's reminding you that in the film it were chrome, it were like a stainless steel or chrome. In this, you know it's a plastic sprayed with silver paint, and it doesn't quite capture the realism that the new version does, the 1/4 scale. Now, what am I expecting a lot? I don't know, but hindsight's a good thing. I see what they do now, and I think it shows up sometimes what they couldn't do then. So like I said, but I do always review fairly, regardless when the figure come out, when I got my hands on it, I do always review it fairly. So anybody else potentially wanting to buy this, they could say, is it as good? Is the materials as good as a new one? And I would say no. So I do review fairly, although this I think is the best version to get in a 1/6 scale of what I've seen. I would forget the T700, the T600s. I'm sure they're nice. I'm sure the people that's got them love it. This is the iconic one, and I think this is the one to get, even over the battle damage version. This is the indestructible version, or clean version if you like, and I think it's the one to have. I will just show you as well, the eyes on. I will say as well, the batteries are ready for going with this, so they do fade. In a minute or so they'll have turned themselves off. So, but that's down to the batteries. I could do with changing them. Does give it a nice look. The mouth does open, although only when the head's in a certain position, and even when the head opens you see the little pistons come down out of its sort of cheekbone. And see, it does open and close nice. The spray, I suppose, on the teeth leaves a little bit to be desired if you compare it with a modern figure, but for its time it does look awesome. So yeah, turn the light off. So like I said, it does look awesome. I get a feeling he's going to take a fucking nosedive, so I'll keep hold of him. It does look awesome, and I do think it is the version to have, but like I said, it isn't perfect. If they did spray paint it, or somebody could do a really good chroming job, I think it would be as close as you're going to get. But like I said, I've given the likeness a 4 out of 5. Right, this is normally where I'd move on to outfit, but as you can see, I don't wear one, so it's easy, a 0. So I'm going to cut straight to the articulation, and I'm going to go all Sean Long on your ass. For the simple reason, I don't normally bore you with it bends here, and it bends here, and it bends here, and it bends here, because the general Hot Toy figures are true types. So if you've seen one true type, you've seen them all. Now, I've never seen another figure like this, and I'm guessing that some of you guys haven't seen a figure like this either. So I'm going to tell you where it moves, how it moves. Firstly, before I start, I want to say, handle with care. If you get it, handle with care, because it's fragile, it's really light feeling, you're aware it's plastic, and you know there's a lot of moving parts. Secondly, I will say respect to Dean Knight, because I'm not sure if he had this figure from new, but he's kept it in fucking mint condition. Every joint's still tight, and there's no dings on it, there's no scratches, no scrapes, nothing that's not supposed to be there. So respect to Dean Knight for looking after his figure. And I'm gonna start off, and I'll be handling the figure, so there won't be a pose as such. So if you can come in, Carl, and just focus on his head. I'm going to refer to the sections of his body as in human anatomy, or sort of to give you an idea of the area that I'm talking about. So we'll start off with his head, or skull. Firstly, you can see it goes up and down, side. Notice when I'm moving, the hoses move with him. Really nice. Probably to about that limit, and then to about that limit at the other side. Now, I mentioned before, his jaw will only move in certain positions. So if I open his jaw there, when I start turning it, his neck will push his jaw back. So that is one thing to look out for. I will show you at this point, the light switch is on his back, central. One press and they're on. Another press and it's off. Moving down to his neck. His neck is a solid piece, so there's no movement at all through his neck. The joint is at the top. It's a ball joint on top of the neck. Through the upper chest, you do see all the hoses and you see all these pistons, but these don't move. There's no movement through them. Same with a collarbone or clavicle, I think it's called. There's no movement through that. So anything inside there, there's no movement. Now moving down, this section moves in and out, and I don't know what the reference is to that. I don't know if it's some kind of shielding device or what it is in the film, but it does move in and out. Through the waist, there's rotation, and as you see, when it moves, the pistons move with it. Really nice, as you can see. It does feel smooth, don't feel like it's going to break. A little bit of dip forward, a little bit of movement back, but quite limited. Can you see? Right, so there's that. The pelvis, let me just take his arms out of the way. The pelvis, like I said, is connected to these two pistons here, and they do move nicely. Then dropping down the lower section of the pelvis is to the legs. Now the legs will move in and out to about that degree. Notice again, the pistons are always working. Again, handle with care. The legs will go up to about there. Yeah. And they'll go back to about there. So that is the full extent of the upper leg. And like I said, it will go in and out. So to be honest, like I've said, it's pretty much what the real machine would do. Moving down to the knee. Right. You can see good movement on the knee. And this piston opens and closes. You getting that, Cal? Like that. Underneath the knee, the shin full section rotates, and there's an hinge somewhere up here. You see that? In focus, yeah. And it does turn like so. Then moving down to the foot. The foot is on a ball joint. So it will rock, pivot. You see as well, as I move the foot, because of the mechanics of the foot, there's like two, sort of the under section of the foot, because the toes are moving. And then you've got the metatarsals here, I think. I might have them the wrong way. Can't remember. So they all move. Each toe moves individually. You zoomed in on that. Watch, each toe will move. Bend them right up if you want. So accurate for posing the foot. And then depending on how you rotate the foot and move, the pistons all here work. You're getting that good clear picture. So they're the legs. Moving down the arms. At the shoulder, the arm will move to a good height. Be careful, obviously, because the hosing sort of feeds through from the chest as if it's an hydraulic. So it will move, but be careful. You don't want to snap this hose off. Then it will lift to that, and then all the way down to his side. Just below the shoulder joint here, on the upper bicep, there is a rotation. In and out, like I said, the joints are really tight, but they do it. The elbow bends, and that moves the pistons. Really good mechanics. And again, like the underside of the knee, the forearm does rotate. So there's an hinge somewhere in here. You've got that nice and close. Just inside here, there's a joint. So the upper arm should stay still, and the lower arm will turn. See? And then down to the wrist. The wrist, just a little bit of articulation. Does move these three little pistons in his arms. It's not massive. Then if you just focus on the hand, got it in shot. Every little section is on an hinge, so you can position them however you want. And that's just not bend. No limit to what you can do. So give him a claw, tighten it up into a fist, grab a gun, whatever. The hand is totally articulated. And that is about it. So like I say, there's not a great deal it won't do. Obviously, it is a robot, but I would think that does exactly the same as what its screen counterpart would do. So that is why I've got to give it a 5 out of 5 for articulation. No nitpicks. I suppose if you bought a loose one, you'd be fucking fuming because it'd be flopping all over. Luckily I didn't. Dean Knight looked after his shit. I bought it off him, and I'm more than happy with it because it feels brand new to me. And like I say, this is a figure that's been around for 6, nearly 7 years. So respect to Hot Toys for what they did, and respect to Dean Knight for looking after it. So like I said, the articulation, a 5 out of 5. Right, moving on to extras, and this is quite a weak category. I'll just show you the pose first. Stood. See? And this pose I like to call mirrors, for the simple reason is it mirrors his human version. Got them both set up with one gun out, arm's length, looking down the barrel. And with the minigun tipped upside down and thrown over the shoulder. So I do like that, and it does show that both figures will pull off the same left poses. Any kids out there who've not seen this film, that is basically what's underneath the skin of that. So yeah, I think that looks beautiful. So extras, what does he bring? Like I said, it's missing the nickel plated long slide pistol with a laser sighting. I don't know why the figure brought it, because I don't think you see him in Terminator 2, but like I said, it did have that, but Dean Knight decided he wanted to keep it because he was using it for his Hitman custom figure, and I didn't really have a problem with it. Like I said, you can pick them up on eBay, they'd be about 15-16 quid. Like I said, if anybody out there has got one and like to sell it me, I'd appreciate it. But this one I ain't got it, obviously. So yeah, all it basically brought is the plasma rifle, which is really good. Does look like it should do in the movie. And then it brings the minigun, which is nice. You can see all the undergearing, which rotates it. Like I said, very reminiscent of the one that we all know and love, that Arnie himself uses. Got the joystick handle. Obviously, remember this is upside down because I've got it thrown over his shoulder. And then it has all the sort of the handle grip and everything on that side. I will say the barrel does rotate, but it is stiff. Like I said, Dean obviously looks after his figures like I do, so it is nice, hardly used. So yeah, that's all it brings. So it's not a lot, but like I said before with many figures, I will say it does bring the generic stand. We were using them 6 years ago, we're still using them now. Some figures do bring something a little bit better, but this one didn't. I've said before, with a lot of other figures, it don't bring much, but what could it bring? And nothing really. you would be wanting parts towards, I don't know, fucking battle damage bits to put onto him, or what, I don't know. They could have combined it, I suppose, and had parts that you could take off and swap round, but they didn't. So, but that was pretty much the norm back in them days. So it didn't bring a lot, but like I say, I score as of now. So I'm only giving the extras, I give it a 2. Like I said, I am scoring it as if it were complete and it did have the pistol. So you've got 3 different guns, I suppose, 3 different pose options. You can do what you want with him, having posed up one-handed, or you can have him holding each rifle two-handed, whatever. Like I said, so it is alright, but it's, I don't know, slim pickings we'll call it. So I've only given the extras a 2 out of a possible 5. But I will say, fucking hell, tell your friends, brothers, because I love that pose. Like I said, I called it mirrors. Mirror the present day with the future. Beautiful. Right, moving on to the value. Now, I know what I paid Dean for this in a combined deal for this and Ghost Rider. And like I said in the Ghost Rider review, I was more than happy with it. And you also know I never disclose what I pay in private deals. If I buy from a seller, then I would give you a rough idea. But deals on Facebook or private deals, I won't do it. Not only for my reasons, but also to protect the seller. I don't want everybody knowing that they've just got so many £100 off of me, because then people want to go to them and start selling, and so on and so forth. And I do think that deals between gentlemen, so to speak, are done behind closed doors. And a lot of you will know through Facebook that when that doesn't happen, it really does fucking round me up. So I don't do it. I would never say, oh, I bought that off Dean Knight and I paid him that much, because that then leads you to know what Dean Knight sells for, and it tells you what market I'm in to buy figures at. So I don't do it. Like I said, for the figure I've got, I'm more than happy with it. The combined deal, I'm more than happy with it. I will say on the value, if you bought this figure when it first come out, you paid £60 and it's now going for 180, and in the past you've been able to get nearly 300 for it. I would say the fucking value's got to be shit hot to you. I suppose you loved the figure when you had it. I suppose if you're one of the guys who bought it at 300 and now the value's slowly coming down, it is a bit of a pisser, but the art to buying and selling Hot Toys, boys, is when to buy them and when to sell them. There's times to trade. There's times to trade for certain things, but you've got to work them things out yourself. Like I say, I always rate the figure on the one I've got, although I'm contradicting myself because I've just rated it with the long slide pistol and I haven't got that, so I am a fucking hypocrite when I say this. I'm going to rate it on what I paid for it. Now I know what I paid, and I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 for value, because I paid a little bit less than market value. And I would think if I were to sell it, now, I would think that I would make a little bit of money on it. Not massively, if I'm honest, because I don't think there's a great big market for this figure anymore since the 1/4 version come out. But I would say if you're a 1/6 collector, this is the one to have, no doubt about it. If you want an Endoskeleton, look out for the T800. Either this, and then failing this one, possibly the battle damaged one. So those have been keeping scores. I'm giving it a 23 out of a possible 35, although that's misleading because he doesn't have an outfit, so it was really 23 out of a possible 30, which in that case is a really good score, bearing in mind a couple of categories I marked him right down on, namely the extras and the packaging. I will say as well, I think it does give the Terminator shelf a little bit of flavour, because you see a lot of these Terminator shelves and they all have the DX or the MMS Arnie and possibly the T1000 and maybe a John Connor thrown in there or this and other. There's not a vast amount of these that I've seen. In fact, I'll go as far as to say I don't think I've ever seen a review on this figure before, a full review. I've seen it in videos, but I don't think I've seen a full review on this figure. So I've seen more on the 1/4 than I have on the 1/6, and this has been out 6 years. So like I said, certain figures in certain collections make your collection look a little bit different, and I think this is one of the figures that are doing it for me at the moment. So like I say, more than happy with it. Thank you to Dean for keeping it in good nick, and also for the fact that when you decide you want to sell, pal, you do come to me, because you know if I tell you I'm going to buy something, I buy it, I send you the money, and so on and so forth, help you with the shipping, and yeah, respect to you. The guys I've dealt with before, I've got to say I've been lucky. I have always dealt with good guys. There's nobody that I've dealt with that I would say, fuck him, I will never deal with him again. So anybody potentially wanting to deal with Clipper King, I would say go ahead and let me prove to you that I am a man of my word. So yeah, don't think there's much more I can say. The next review will, I don't know, let's have a, put in the comments in fact, because I'm not going to do it tonight. Do you want me to do a joint review with Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, which I got at and I were going to review today, but I thought I'd do the Endo first. Do you want that next, or do you want that next? That's the Mark 6 Iron Man. So put in your comments which you want, and obviously at the time when I get the camera back out, I'll decide which one got the most votes. So like I say, straight choice. I'm going to do a joint review on Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, or the Mark 6 Iron Man. You guys can choose. But this guy's still turning. I'll let him come round one more time. In the meantime, I'll be saying thanks for watching, guys. Like the video, comment, subscribe if you haven't. This is a Clipper King and the T800, and we're out of here.